Yo, what up, y'all? We back with another reaction. This right here is what happened. 2022, man. I don't know what they talking about, but I know they got some crazy clips and your boy over here interested in shit. You feel me? So since they say, and this happened September 27th, 2019, so they said this a minute ago. What we reacted to? Huh? Something juicy, something scary, something crazy. Y'all don't know. But we in the build, man. Shout out everybody in the building. I hope y'all watching my vids. Y'all watching my vids? Y'all liking my vids? Y'all sharing my vids? Yo, what y'all doing with them, man? Yo, let me know. Shit. You know, we gonna watch and see what they talking about. We gonna get an update to see if they change it. You know how they always change that shit nowadays, bro. But we in this motherfucker with another one, man. Y'all with me? Make sure you have that like button. Make sure you go like another video just if you fucking with your boy. I don't care what video. Just go like another one. 2 likes. That's all I ask for.
These haters, they hate and I don't know why. Why? Maybe because I'm trying to make it worldwide.
Let go. Alright, what we got here, man? What happened in 2022?
The world is divided in many different ways.
Yeah.
We're divided by invisible national boundaries, which carve up the land into different countries. We're separated by seas and continents, which force us to live apart. Aside from that, we're also separated by religion and culture and language. Because of all this, it's sometimes hard to remember that we're all one human race. We all need to work together to deal with some of the issues that could change the face of the whole planet. One of the problems is that there are just too many of us. We're getting better at treating illnesses and extending lives through medicine than ever before. But we're also having more children. There are 7.5 billion of us in the world right now. By 2021, that figure will exceed 8 billion. All of those people need food, water, shelter, and heating. We don't know for sure we have enough food or clean water to sustain all of those lives. Overpopulation could lead to a complete societal collapse in any one region of the world.
Yo, it's crazy that they said that because I do a lot of videos and shit. And I watched one video, which I'm gonna probably go look for it and try to cover it just for y'all. But it was like, the earth cleans itself, so it's like the earth come up with diseases to get rid of people. Yo, the shit was crazy. That's what the video said, but we all know all this shit is man-made. You know what I'm saying? Everything natural from the earth is getting flipped to kill us, so, you know what I mean? I don't know. But it was like, yeah, the earth created all these fucking different things to clear the earth and make room, but the way the sea levels is rising, man, there's about to be a water planet left.
Or possibly all of it. The more people there are, the faster the resources are depleted and the harder it is for supply to meet demand. There's also the problem of rising sea levels. Regardless of whether or not you believe that climate change is caused by human activity, it's impossible to deny that climate change is happening. As glaciers melt, sea levels rise. At first, that will only be a problem for low-lying countries that aren't far above sea level, like the Netherlands.
You know, it's crazy because I think it's like Italy, one of them motherfucker France over there on water. It's like, yo, that's crazy because they gonna have to live on top of what they already got established. So I hope that joint support it, bro. Like even this right here. Like imagine it going higher than this. So where do y'all start? Where you go deeper to? It's crazy, bro. The sea level thing is scary.
Then it will move on to towns and cities which sit on the coastline. 10% of the whole population of the world live in regions which are less than 30 feet above sea level. And all of them would be at risk. Cities like Miami, Rio de Janeiro, Shanghai, and Osaka would all be at risk within a century if sea levels continue to rise at the current rate of projection. Island nations would be washed away. Entire ecosystems would be irreversibly damaged, which would cause knock-on effects on the food chain that all human beings rely on for sustenance.
Facts. That's why they out there cloning everything now, trying to figure out how to geo make that shit.
Both of those problems are potentially lethal. and they're the sort of thing that we should definitely be more conscious of and doing more about. There may be a bigger danger facing the whole planet, though, and one which almost nobody is paying any attention to at all. And that's the risk of a cataclysmic shift in the orientation of the world's magnetic poles. It's hard to imagine how such a thing could occur, but factors like global warming and overpopulation could be a factor. Perhaps more likely, though, is the risk of an asteroid striking the Earth. Scientists believe that this is the most likely reason for the extinction of the dinosaurs, and we may be well overdue for such an event happening again. Working on the likelihood of a magnetic pole reversal has been a lifetime's work for Gordon Michael Scallion, a futurist and metaphysicist. His terrifying vision of the future is a planet that's been torn apart by floods. Scallion remains open-minded on the potential causes of magnetic pole shift, theorizing that nuclear activity, global warming, or the misuse of future could all potentially play a part.
Yo, I ain't even gonna lie. Give me 1 second. Let me go fill my cup. I got them boys over there like, yo, what Ryan got in this cup? I just know I'm sipping slow. Damn. Y'all see the steam come off that joint? Yeah, I got ice in my cup, boy. Got that ice in my cup, boy. Stop playing with me. See that joint on chill, boy. I got that joint on chill, boy. It's like, nah, let me stop fucking with y'all, man. I'm over here drinking my coffee, man. Y'all know I'm an old man out this motherfucker. You feel me? Let me make it visible. See if I can show y'all the brownness in this joint. Y'all probably over here think I'm sipping. Come on, man. You see I got the old man robe. I got the slippers on. I got, you feel me? Come on, man. Can I drink my coffee and be a... Yo, y'all can't wait till y'all get to this status, man. The robe, slippers, and coffee, nigga. Stop playing with me. Let's go, man. Back to this video, man.
Along with the possibility of an asteroid strike. He feels that it's precisely because there are so many potential causes that we should be taking the threat more seriously. As an example, if a volcanic chain reaction occurred under the Earth's crust and made Italy's Mount Etna and Martinique's Mount Pelée erupt at the same time, there would be a shift of the poles between 20 and 45 degrees. The resultant flood would overrun the west coast of America within 90 days. 20 to 45 degrees would be a disastrous shift, but a total reversal of the poles would be far, far worse. Our next question should be, how likely is it to happen? The NEOWISE mission at NASA keeps track of all potentially hazardous objects out in space, which could pose a risk, however small, of striking the Earth. The mission has so far uncovered 250 previously unknown objects. 4 of them are brand new comets. A worrying 72 of them are classified.
I don't know if these pictures be created or they be real pictures, but that shit look balls.
As near-Earth objects. Not all of them are large enough to cause such a catastrophic effect, but some of them are. Right now, NASA's own impact risk chart lists 2020 as having an increased risk of dangerous object activity. Any rock in space more than half a mile wide would pose a risk to the entire population of the Earth if it crashed into the planet's surface. There are 90 of them currently close to the Earth. None of them are currently believed to pose a threat, but even one of half that size would be enough to shift the magnetic poles. Some of this information might sound far-fetched.
Yo, that's crazy. Like, imagine, like, right now, my stream being shut down, and they like, yo, you got a meteor coming towards you. We got 3 hours left to live. You know what I mean? People would panic and just be trying to call everybody and just say I love yous and shit like that. I'd be like, man, y'all capping, man. Stop playing. You feel me? Ain't that, man? Say, nah, I don't know, man. That shit's scary, bro. That's why I watch shit like this, man.
And we don't blame you if you're thinking we're overstating the risk right now. However, there's something else we want you to consider. If there's no immediate risk of a global disaster, why are so many of the world's super rich buying safe holds in high, dry lands? Have they been told something that the rest of us haven't? Not only are they buying safe land, but they're also buying it in places where conditions are ideal for coal mining, farming cattle, and otherwise being self-reliant. In the USA, the ideal places are to be found in New Mexico, Montana, Texas, and Wyoming. Billionaire John Malone currently owns over 2 million acres of land in Colorado and Wyoming. Amazon supremo Jeff Bezos has acquired 400,000 acres of land in Texas. TV mogul Ted Turner has 2 million acres of his own split across North Dakota, New Mexico, Nebraska, and
he ain't gonna do nothing but get that shit to his family, bro.
Montana. Stan Kroenke has taken on over 250,000 acres.
This how kids be motherfucking raised, just blessed. Because they born into shit like this, man. That shit's crazy.
Of Montanan land.
Don't worry, baby.
We could go.
I'm gonna get us some acres. Y'all gonna help me get the acres, man. All you gotta do is like the vid.
Go on.
That's all you gotta do, bro.
Bill Gates has gone.
I'm sorry. If you really want me, share this motherfucker. And tell somebody else to share this motherfucker. And then tell somebody. Yo, shout out to everybody in the building right now, man.
Gone even further. The Microsoft founder is building his very own micro city in Belmont, a city he views as being a cutting-edge utopia of technology, manufacturing, communication, and distribution. In short, he's building Metropolis in an area which is currently nothing but dry land. This trend, by the way, is not uniquely American. Farmland is currently selling at record rates in New Zealand, Australia.
Yo, let's go back, bro. Because if you look at that, right? They could be doing anything under that dirt, bro. They could be doing anything under that dirt, bruh.
Nothing but dry land. This trend, by the way, is not uniquely American. Farmland is currently selling at record rates in New Zealand, Australia, Great Britain, and Europe. Curiously, helipads are appearing outside the mansions of the super rich at almost the same rate. It's almost as if they're planning for a quick getaway. What, then, will the world the super rich are leaving the rest of us to look like? We've looked closely at Scallion's predictions, and here's how he sees the world post-Polar Shift.
That's crazy.
He warned these predictions don't make for comfortable viewing, but we provide them purely for illustrative purposes. We're not saying this is definitely what's going to happen, but it's a possibility. We start with Africa, which would ultimately end up being split in 3 thanks to the widening of the Nile as sea levels rise. The area from the Mediterranean Sea to Gabon will be swamped by a new waterway, and thousands of years of ancient Egyptian history will be lost as Cairo disappears under the rising tide of the Red Sea. Madagascar will effectively cease to exist, other than a couple of points which will remain above the water. As some of the land sinks, other areas will rise.
Turtles, man.
Around Cape Town, a brand new mountain range will emerge from beneath the water, with a fresh landmass below it. Lake Nyasa and Lake Victoria will merge into one body of water and become a tributary to the Indian Ocean. As for the coastline of Central Eastern Africa, everything on it will be lost forever. Asia is next up, and the bad news for Asia is that it's already an area which suffers from serious seismic problems. A pole shift would just make those problems far worse. All it would take is a 9% shift in the Pacific Plate to sink almost all of the Japanese islands and mostly drown the mainland. Taiwan would be left completely underwater, and Korea would lose something in the region of 80% of its land. The argument between the north and south of the land would seem pretty pointless then. The coast of China would retreat hundreds of miles, submerging coastal cities. We would completely lose the Philippines. Much of the land we now recognize as Asia would be lost. but it would be replaced by new land revealed by the moving seas. How many people would be left alive to move to that land is a different question. The Indian subcontinent would be physically buckled by the geological impact of a polar shift. The elevation of the country above sea level would be lowered, which, as we already know, is bad news when the sea levels would be rising so dramatically. Seeking higher ground to avoid the catastrophe in India might not be possible, so people would be best advised to flee to the Himalayas or Tibet instead. The only part of the world that might conceivably be improved by a polar shift is Antarctica. Right now, it's a barren wasteland. After a polar shift, it would become ideal farmland. Ice and tundra would give way to rich soil, backed up by new land emerging from beneath the waves. A whole new landmass would exist from the Antarctic Peninsula all the way to Tierra del Fuego. A polar shift might be survivable for Australians, depending on where in Australia they live. The Australian continent is huge, but very little of it is populated. Only 25% of the land will be lost to the sea. That would be a disaster anywhere else in the world, but in Australia, strategic relocation of the population would make it possible to prevent any deaths occurring at all. It would involve everybody in Adelaide leaving their homes, though. Adelaide would be part of a sea caused by the expansion of Lake Eyre. The good news is that they could choose either the Gibson or Simpson deserts to move to, though. The deserts would become perfect farmland just like Antarctica. Queensland would be unaffected, and would therefore likely find itself receiving enormous numbers of refugees. It'll have some help, though. The shift will join Australia and New Zealand back together, forming an entirely new country. As we've already discovered, New Zealand farmland is already being bought up by billionaires. This new union of Australia and New Zealand would likely become a new global superpower. It might be mostly good news for Australia, but it's almost entirely bad news for Europe. The tectonic plate underneath northern Europe will almost completely collapse, taking every North European country underwater with it. That means saying goodbye to Denmark, Norway, Finland, and Sweden. Almost all of the UK will vanish along with them, although London and Birmingham will still exist as islands, along with the highest parts of Ireland and Scotland. Wales, except the tops of the islands, will be totally lost. Russia's land link to Europe will be broken by a meeting between the Black Sea, the Baltic Sea, the Caspian Sea, and the Kara Sea. Russia itself will be left mostly unchanged, though, meaning that the rest of Europe's survivors will be looking to it for food production and assistance. West Turkey and Central Europe will vanish, as the bulk of the land that exists between the Baltic Sea and the Mediterranean Sea sinks. The news isn't any better for the French, as Paris is pretty much all that will survive, and it will do so as an island. The famous Italian cities of Genoa, Naples, Venice, and Rome would be doomed, but new land would rise from Sardinia to Sicily as ready replacements. A lot of our viewers will want to know what all of this means for North America, and here's the full picture. The coastline of the northwestern region of Canada will be forced 200 miles inland, but Quebec, Manitoba, Alberta, and Ontario will be mostly fine. They'll find themselves accepting refugees fleeing from the lands around them. Everybody in Alaska and British Columbia will have to flee. The North American
I always said we didn't go to the
Manitoba, Alberta, and
we didn't go to the what you call it?
Means for North.
Right there.
What all of this means for North.
See, I don't like looking at stuff like this. This is the scary part. You know what I'm saying? Because are we looking at existence right here? Is this really existence, or is this just some geographical? It's scary, bro.
North America. And here's the full picture. The coastline of the northwestern region of Canada will be forced 200 miles inland. But Quebec, Manitoba, Alberta, and Ontario will be mostly fine. They'll find themselves accepting refugees fleeing from the lands around them. Everybody in Alaska and British Columbia will have to flee. The North American plate, however, will be badly buckled. California land will collapse and leave approximately 150 islands poking out of the water. Vast swaths of the west coast will disappear, and the St. Lawrence Seaway will connect to the Great Lakes and cause enormous flooding issues. That means the end of every coastal area between Florida and Maine. The western halves of both states would survive, but suffer from huge resource problems. Heading south toward Mexico, the same issue which affect California will also turn the country into a series of islands. The whole Yucatan Peninsula will vanish, and what's left of Mexico will be pushed a long way inland from where it is right now. Central America, much of which is barely above sea level as it is, stands no chance of survival. A few lonely islands might manage to cling on, but they'll be damaged and isolated. South America might not even be paying all that much attention to the floods, because it will have to put its full focus on the volcanic eruptions and earthquakes that would blight the continent in the event of a polar shift. When they settle down, there will be no sign of Colombia, Venezuela, or Brazil. Incredibly, the whole huge Brazilian nation will be occupied by sea. The Amazon basin will essentially become the Amazonian Sea and expand far enough to sink Bolivia and Peru. The question of the hotly contested Falkland Islands will cease to be an issue. They'll no longer exist. The country best positioned to survive the advancing seas will be Chile, which might find itself the new home of everybody on the continent. As we said earlier, though, this isn't all definite, or even probable, just possible. We're sure if one of those 90 or so cataclysmic objects floating around in space suddenly turned and started heading in our direction, NASA would tell us. Or would they? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and you will be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.
Yo, I told you I get deep in these Jones, bro. That's the shit I like learning about. That shit's scary, but look at the sea level now. What if the world used to be flat and then the water, you know what I mean? Who knows? But it can't be flat if we got mountains. That's the crazy part. Flat would mean flat. So you can't say the world is flat. Of course it's round, the sun is round, the moon is round. Yeah. But, you know, I'm high as shit, y'all. Don't pay me no mind. Y'all watching, man. Tell me what y'all think. Bag up. I don't give a fuck. See y'all in the next one.
Never. Ron G. Why they talking? I'm making money. Don't see that haters cause it's keeping me from me. Make me wanna suck me to fuck me. I'm saying ill, but she ain't funky, you're ugly. But that she doing is brand new. I'ma keep her on my menu. Mark her at the first so I can have her at the every meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'ma hit it in the limo. I'm a G, but I beat that like a mental. She hollering on the man now. I tell her pull her pants down. Then I tell her come in. She with it, never tripping, cause she know she gon' get the business. Oh, you call, she be with you in a minute. My in the hand, and she say she not good at multitasking. And I'm just laughing like this is sad, man. She say she don't care cause you's a lame one. Now you mad, blowing up her phone. I tell her to hit you back as soon as I get done. Niggas, these haters,
I just go with the flow, man. I don't even be thinking too much. I just try to put them out. You know what I mean? But you want another one, man. If y'all like it, let me know. Like the vids, like the other ones. And we in the building. But that's it for this one. We out. Catch y'all on the next one.